as well.
Bad.
Ever since a baby, I've been trying to get away, trying to lock in the guap, trying to block with the pain. I'm a blind little boss, I'm on top of the game. I've been plotting a lot, now I'm tossing your bait. Yeah, my pops got caught, didn't lock them away. My mom fought hard 5 jobs in a day. I'll be dropping the box, and I'm copping the pain. We out for the stars, so a tropical place. Ooh, yeah, I'm spitting it heavy, the mission is steady. Your bitch is a jelly, I'm ditching the petty. You're digging for pennies, I'm itching and ready. I open my heart when I listen to Shetty. I'm bold like a boss, but I'm little like Debbie. I know it's your bros, I got Richard and Getty. I'm holding the guap and I'm whipping the Yeti, yeah, Kari can play with advanced moves. I'm fucking my girl and her man too. I'm taking the ball like Durant do. My soul is the one that I can't lose. I soak up the sun like a sand dune. I'm holding up love with the bamboo. I'm rolling the blunt by the candle. Taking the game, running it back without taking a drink. Yeah, I'm the one and I'm making a wave. Rolling the blunt and I'm blazing a J. I'm escaping the brain, go straight for the cake. I'ma take to the bank, not taking a break. I'm made for the race, I pray for the day. I wake with a bake in the greatest state.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. It's Yankee and the Brit, and we're here with Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, hey guys, week 7 of the NFL season, and it is flying by. It is currently October, which means in the UK it is just wet and horrible, and I've got a bit of a cold, so if I sound I mean, it's always wet and horrible in the UK. October and November is surprisingly just really, really time for the weather to turn. So I've got a bit of a cold today, hence the cup of tea as well. And Jay, just run me through how you make your tea, because I've been seeing some worrying things online from how Americans make tea.
Okay, I am really weird with it because I like really strong tea. So you got to start out with 2 bags.
Okay, I can see that. That's fair enough. All right, go on.
All right, but I used to have the teapot that whistled on the stove, but now I got an electric teapot. But
see, Jay, also, you're a normal human.
Okay. Also, don't use tap water.
Oh, right. Okay. Do you have to use you decide to use filtered water and stuff? I could see that. Our tap water tastes so nice.
We haven't drinking tap water in, I don't know, 8-10 years.
Yeah.
We have a water cooler in our kitchen and then just have the 5-gallon jugs refilled.
I was introduced to having to filter water in my own home after moving to Latvia just because the water doesn't taste right. But in the UK, the water tastes just fine. But what I've been seeing, Jay, is that a lot of Americans, for some unknown reason, put the tea bag in cold water, then put the milk in. Yeah, I know. Then put the milk in and then put it in the microwave. What are we doing? Why are we microwaving tea?
I'm 46 and never seen anybody in the U.S. ever put milk in their tea.
Oh, right. Okay. Not milk then, but put the tea in and that kind of thing, right? That's just how you make tea.
That's how my wife makes tea because she's too lazy to use the electric teapot.
A kettle. An electric teapot. We call it a kettle. A kettle is the best invention ever. It's brilliant. Just carry on with that. But I'm glad that we're on the same page with that, Jay, to be honest. I'm glad. It's an important thing.
I'm weird though. I don't like even heating my food up with the microwave.
Yeah, I'm not big. I like things to actually be drinkable and edible when I get them. So I don't like things being totally napalmed. But to be honest, Jay, we've been doing this for 3 years and I'm surprised this is the first tea talk that we've had.
Since we're doing a quick cooking show before we move on to football, best way to heat up pizza: frying pan, lid, tiny bit of oil, get the crust, remelt the cheese, tastes brand new again. Just telling you.
And Jay's Italian American, so he actually knows. Yeah, so that's
frying pan. People think it's crazy. Frying pan.
That's actually fair. And Jay's when we say Jay is Italian American, he actually knew relatives who were proper Italian and stuff.
Yeah, my grandparents came here from Italy.
Yeah, so, it's not like when some Americans say they're Irish and because their family came over on the Mayflower from Ireland, right?
Right. Yeah. No. So I'm second generation on my father's side. Second generation.
Basically European, Jay. So there we go. So congrats.
Here you go.
You're welcome.
Shout out to my mom. On her side, there's a tiny bit of English, and my niece traced him back to Lord Eagle, who was a lord in England back in the day, and Lady Eagle, instead of divorcing him, fled to America.
Nice. Great way to get away. What's actually funny about this, Jay, is it's actually easier for you to get a visa to the European Union than it is for me now.
Well, y'all did that shit to yourself, but that's a whole different
Had
conversation.
fucking nothing to do with that, Jay.
No, I meant y'all as in
y'all as in
England.
a
The
collective.
people in England did that shit to themselves. Now, wait, when you guys broke away, was that just England or is that all of the UK?
Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland as well. Scotland voted against it.
That's 4, right? 4 countries.
Well, yeah, but Scotland voted against it.
But they still got fucked into having to do it.
It's the UK, yeah.
Okay.
It's brutal. It started the independence talks. Like, there's more independence talks now than there have been for a long time. But anyway, sorry. Non-political, non-food. Nice 5 minutes there. But Jay, let's just get straight in to my pain, our week 6 reactions. Shall we talk some Cowboys Lions just to start off, just to get it out of the way?
Well, yeah, but I got to ask you, what do you think about all these like trades and free agent or like people getting cut right now? You think there's a whole fire sale about to go on because it goes into your pain? And do you think the Cowboys will make a move to like fix some of this bleeding? Because I heard it's not Myles Garrett they're willing to trade in Cleveland. I heard it was Zadarius Smith.
Yeah. We'll talk more about this later in the show when we get to my favorite segment in sports coverage in GMJ.
Okay, I won't step on your toes.
We'll talk more about this later. But in terms of the Dallas Cowboys, I was actually going to come on and do a solo show straight after the game before my cold took me over, and I've this is the best I've been able to speak in like 3 days, which is great. But basically, I think we need a wide receiver who can actually run the routes that they're meant to run. I think that would be helpful. So I would take
Mike Williams.
So not Mike Williams, exactly.
Okay.
So not Mike Williams. Yeah,
I guess he's up for trade right now. So
yeah, I mean I don't mind a big body wide receiver, but not Mike Williams. I don't think Mike Williams fixes stuff in Dallas. I think obviously running back, but we have Dalvin Cook, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But some support on the defensive line is our most important need. And obviously that's coming back after the bye week. Micah Parsons back. D-Law looks like he should be coming back after the bye week and stuff like that as well. So we do get a lot of our injured players back. Deron Bland will be back. Eric Kendricks will be back at linebacker as well. But if I'm the Cowboys, I am going out and looking for players. We're only 1 game behind. Everybody is like, the Cowboys are in total free fall. They're awful, right? We're 3-3. We're 1 game behind the Washington Commanders right now.
It's
our division.
It's the level of that ass whooping that has people.
It is the level of the ass whooping in all 3 games that
I know the answer to this, but I want you to answer this for everybody else because I talked to you about it. But what were you thinking when you found out Cam Akers was available and all the Vikings gave up was they get Cam Akers in a 2026 7th for a 2026 6th. So they don't really lose a pick. They just move back around and they get Cam Akers back. You think he would have been huge for the Cowboys or no?
I don't think huge. I don't think huge for the Cowboys. I do think there's a limit to how good a running back can be behind the offensive line, especially when Zach Martin is playing the worst football of his entire career right now. So usually our run game is predicated on run behind Zach Martin. And Zach Martin is playing some of the worst game in his career right now. PFF rating of 29, an actual rating of 0 in pass blocking from PFF this week. So I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes, but I'm surprised they haven't done anything to try and spark something. I'm surprised they haven't done something to try and spark something over this bye week. That's what I don't get. Wrestle back the narrative. Trading for a player like Cam Akers is like, okay, we're going to trade for Cam Akers. We're going to bring Dalvin Cook up from the practice squad because it can't get any worse, right? There's no way that the run game can get worse.
Cam Akers, minus the injury, has proven he can be a starting running back in the NFL. And he was balling out for the Vikings before he tore his ACL or his Achilles. And same thing with the Rams, balling out and then tears his Achilles, but opposite Achilles too. So that's kind of weird. But I think he's better than everybody you guys got on your roster at running back right now. So I don't know why Jerry wasn't on the phone.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I have no
Maybe
idea
the
what.
Texans were like, "Fuck you, Dallas." That could have been
Yeah,
it
it
too,
could,
because
like,
they're both in
genuinely
Texas.
could be. It genuinely could be, right? And I also think with that, what's important to really note now is the reason that the Cowboys couldn't sign anybody in the offseason was because of really shit cap room. But now the Cowboys actually are way under the cap. Like the Cowboys are actually way under the cap in order to actually go sign somebody because the way they've structured Dak and CD's deals. And all I can think of is that the Cowboys are actually trying to sign these people,
Well, you can
and
roll
they're
over.
just not getting the deal done.
You can roll over a lot of that cap space to next year too. They let you roll over. It's in like
Exactly.
3-year increment or something. The cap space
Yeah.
counts. So those mathematicians, which I am far from, know how to roll it over. That's why Kawasi's been real like cute with how he maneuvers the money, because he wants to roll a big amount of it to next year to eat up that first hit by Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I messaged you and said the fact that it wasn't even rumored that he was going to the Cowboys and it wasn't leaked by anybody at the Cowboys, and because the Cowboys are one of the leakiest teams in the world. Like if they're trying to do something, we're all knowing about it, right? It makes it's why leaking the Derrick Henry news doesn't make any fucking sense if it's not getting done. The Patrick Queen deal doesn't make any sense if it's not getting done, because you just screw yourself over for later on. I'm surprised that there was just no news about it. There's no news about Mike Williams, and it's about trying to wrestle back some momentum and stuff like that as well. I'm more surprised than anything. About it going in. Jay, my question to you after watching that game is, this word is getting thrown around a lot in the media at the moment, and I don't think it's a word that's fair to use towards NFL guys, because none of them are this, but in relation to other NFL teams, Jay, are the Cowboys soft?
They're undisciplined. That's what I watched. Like, and you can blame Zimmer, because Zimmer called a lot of fucking shit plays. But it's not his fault that the fucking linebacker's not in the fucking A gap when he's supposed to be in the A gap. Or it's not his fault that the 3 technique got shoved way out of the gap he's supposed to be. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I mean, I think the scheme might be soft for what's going on, but I don't think the players are. I mean, like, these guys take beatings that you and I will never be able to fathom unless we get into multiple car accidents in one day.
Yeah, the one time that I thought, okay, I would like to see a bit of needle here is when the Lions were trying to score passes with O linemen, which is what I called and what I said was going to happen. I just thought they'd do it in maybe a bit more of an actually clever and tactful way, rather than trying to like run Dan Skipper a wide receiver. At that point, why aren't we fighting? At that point, why isn't someone just going, I have no chance of making a roster when all of the defensive players come back. These guys are making me look like an arsehole. Why am I not just like taking out Dan Skipper at the knees when he tries to run at wide receiver? Like, why are we not like getting in a fight here? The Lions, if we did that to the Lions and it was the same way around, Dan Campbell would walk over the field and punch Mike McCarthy in the face.
Yeah, except this is the same Dan Campbell who defended his own player who intentionally took out TJ Hawkinson's knee, and then somebody else the next week, and I forget who it was. Like, but let's
I don't like it. I don't like it. And if it was a close game, I don't like that style of play. I don't actually want them to take people out of the knees. I just think that the way NFL players
no, but what my argument is, Dan Campbell has a dirty team who's done it multiple times. Who the fuck is he to say anything? Like,
it's like people go like, oh yeah, I love the Jets. I love the way the Lions. Sorry, I love the Lions. I love the way that they play football. And I'm like, they're arseholes. They're clearly arseholes. They've been a dog shit franchise for the past 40 years. They're awful, a terrible, terrible franchise. They've had one good season in the past 40 years, and now they're giving it all this, right? And what are you not meant to do in American sports is things like run up the score. They were running up the score, and it's because of a thing that happened last year.
I told you that I messaged you and said that Dan Campbell was in his feelings, and he was coaching that way.
I said it would happen.
I think football karma will work itself out, though, because you do that kind of shit, and you do shit with malice intent. At some point, it's going to come back around full circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, and I like the Lions in the style of I like the Lions in the style of offense that they run. I like the Lions in the defense that they run, like the actual X's and O's of the game. I think they're a really good team. It's the mentality that I struggle with under Dan Campbell, and it's what burned them out at the end of last season. We spoke about it. We called it at the end of last season as well.
Hey,
look,
maybe karma already did work itself out because Aidan Hutchinson's gone for at least this year. And I'm not going to lie, I'd be shocked if he has not gone half of next year, too.
Yeah, just a huge miss for the Lions there as well. He was the leading sack, the sack leader. There you go. He was the sack leader for the season already, having actually missed half of the game anyway, and he was the leading sack leader. So he's an actual huge miss for the Lions there. I wish him well, and hope he'll be fine. But that's what happens when you're 47-9 up and you keep all of your best players in the game playing like fast football. And we say don't let teams back in the game. We say we don't like it. The Cowboys were dead after halfway through the second quarter. And I think it's important to note here when people are talking about the Cowboys being soft, they did have 6 starters injured on the defensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, they're missing not just 6 players, it's 6 starters out of 11. Damon Clark is not an every down linebacker, especially not every down middle. I like him a lot. I like him and I like Overshown. I think they're really great. The issue is with Damon Clark is, as you say, he's indisciplined, he misses gaps, and he's a bit too light in the box. To me, he looks more like a safety. I would almost rather switch Donovan Wilson and Damon Clark. I like our actual linebacker core. I think is really good. I think they just need to learn a bit of discipline. Take the simplicity away. What I would have liked to see, though, from the Cowboys is when they're running up the score on you, when they're running offensive linemen at wide receiver, just a bit of needle there. Just it doesn't have to be like injuring people. It can just be after the play, shoving around and like actually just showing a bit of fight and a bit of pride in like what you've got.
Well, you guys got gashed in the run, and that a lot of times run is effort, so that's a problem too. But
yeah, exactly. So, Jay, a lot of people as well, mainly Cowboy fans. I haven't seen the media doing this much. The media are more focusing on the soft narrative, and Jerry Jones fucking wailing on a radio host, which is just stupid and just an idiotic thing to do. But he just saw the worst defeat in Cowboys history on his birthday. But yeah. Jay's Dak Prescott being unfairly criticized for this loss. What do you think of Dak Prescott's performance in this game?
I think there's enough criticism to go around for everyone. And you can argue maybe he is being overly criticized, but you're the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. It comes with the $60 million a year.
Yeah, I think the fact that Dak Prescott is working behind an offensive line that isn't currently working, and also in a running back room is standing next to him where that's also not working. And then did you see Troy Aikman just breaking down the Cowboys wide receivers this week as well? And just saying they're being lazy in their routes. That could lead to the miscommunications. They're not running the right routes. They're lazy coming off the routes. The sooner Brendan Cooks gets back, who's like a good route runner, that'll be really good as well. I feel a bit not sorry for Dak Prescott because he obviously didn't have a good game either. But it is a difficult place to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys right now when the defense, you're also just immediately behind in every single game that you'll play, and you're immediately behind in terms of time of possession as well. Jay, how much of this game was the Lions being good versus the Cowboys just not being with it at all?
I mean, the Lions are a good team, and the Dallas Cowboys played like shit. So, I think it's a mixture of both, right? Because are they fucking 42 points better than the Cowboys? No, but they scored that many. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, don't get me wrong. The Lions are a good team. They're talented. I think we're going to find out with the weeks to come because now the Lions have some real tests coming up on their schedule. But I really feel like if you can stop that run, you can neutralize that Cowboys or that Lions offense.
Yeah, what I was really surprised about the play calling from I think the Lions realized they had this game won within the first quarter of this game. I think they were like, yeah, we've got this. And then I think they just started playing around with that and dialing stuff up that they shouldn't have been. And for some reason, they're so determined to give Jahmyr Gibbs carries that they go away from David Montgomery. And that is going to lose them games if they continue to do that. Because David Montgomery, every time I see him carry for the Detroit Lions, is going 5 yards a carry. And that just breaks teams.
Why is Campbell and Johnson showing all their whole hand? Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, Brian Flores has to be like, thank you.
Yeah, I actually think
if I'm a coach and you put Skipper out or any of those dudes out as you just took away any mismatch you could have had, because now I just move a fucking linebacker out to cover, because that fucking Skipper's not gonna more athletic than a linebacker, right? That can cover. Yeah. So I move a linebacker out on him, and now I don't have to worry about the mismatch on the tight end. Like, I don't understand what the fuck they're thinking. They're just showing their hand, and I love it. Like, show it all.
Yeah, I think like
show it like it's a Diddy party.
I think we're sitting here. The Lions have just got a 42-point win in Dallas. By the way, that's 3 losses in a row and 3 losses where they've just been like run over as well at home. But we're saying, I actually think that might have been a poorly coached game. I actually think they did not coach that game that well.
Yeah, they made mistakes. So, like, the execution by the offense and defense was great. I think the coaches made miscalculations, right? Because why give – you still have to play the 49ers. You still have to – like, there's other teams why would you give these elite coaches a heads up of what you're going to do or what you have tucked in the bag? I never understood that. Like, you already got them beat, and then they could say we want to practice them, okay, but, like, that takes away any of the element of surprise of what you might do.
And with the NFC North as competitive as it is this year, you're going to need that. And especially on the defensive side of the ball in the NFC North.
Yeah, you watch the Packers Lions play. It's always a one-score game, always. And it didn't even matter how bad the Lions were or how good the Packers were or whatever. It's always a one-score game. Like, the Bears always play divisional rivals tough, and now they're actually decent. So I don't get the fucking.
Yeah, I think the Lions are looking at every game at the moment as a we're just going to win this game week to week. Everything's just week to week. They're not thinking whole season, which I mean is a good way to win. A good way to win plenty of games.
You want your players to think. You don't want your coaches to think that.
Exactly. Dan Campbell is basically just an old player. All right. Moving on to sorry, I got in my feelings about the Lions this week.
No, that's fine.
Moving on to the Ravens versus the Commanders. I thought this was going to be one of the games of the week. It was a great game. There was a lot of fun early on in this game as well. The Ravens beat the Commanders 33 points to 23. Jay, what was the difference in this game?
Defense.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I was thinking the Ravens look like the Commanders look like that the Ravens are what they want to be. That's what it looked like to me. I was like watching this game and I thought,
take out the first 2 games, and the Ravens are playing fucking amazing football right now.
Yeah,
and Lamar's looking to throw when he's on the run for the first time in his career.
Yeah, I think I was looking at that game and thinking, oh, this is like Big Brother playing against Little Brother. Like, this is like, I was watching this and just thought, yeah, this is Big Brother against Little Brother. And it actually comes out in the stats as well, where it's a 1-score game against, and it was almost exactly how we said it would play out, where it's like, oh, if one team gets a stop, the other team's going to get a touchdown, and then they'll just stay a touchdown away from each other, right? And actually eats out in the stats here where I don't think the Ravens ever actually lost control of this game. They had 13 more minutes in times of possession, and they outran the Commanders by 120 yards. So they just completely controlled that game. They never let it get out of hand. They never even let it get really that close. And Jayden Daniels still threw some dimes, had a really good game, but just didn't spend enough time on the field. And when they were down in the red zone, the Ravens made it really difficult down there as well. I think the Ravens defense has looked much worse than it is at the start of the season. I think it's just going to get better and better and better. And I think the Commanders defense might actually just be a liability. Like, it looked like they really did struggle to deal with the Ravens in this game.
I also think that the Commanders should think about trying to go after a receiver from one of these teams who are selling. Like, add another really good receiver to your roster right now. I think that would do a ton. I mean, you got Indiana's own Scary Terry, you know what I mean? But, like, you give him, not that they went, but if you'd have gave him, like, somebody like Devontae Adams or something, like, holy fuck, right? So, I'm just saying.
Like, Mike Williams is going to be super cheap, right? And he gives that team. I don't love Mike Williams as a wide receiver. I don't think he's a total game changer. But for a team like the Commanders with a young quarterback playing a physical style of ball, Mike Williams gives them something totally different in terms of the size of wide receiver that he is.
Also, people don't think about this, but I was just thinking about this the other night. Late draft picks aren't as valuable as they were anymore because kids, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks are going to stay in college for another year because they're getting paid finally. They're finally getting paid. They don't have to come to the NFL to get money because of NIL. So these guys are going to stay. Your late round draft picks, it's the talent pool is going to get thinner than it's ever been before in the late rounds. So, like, quit. And, like, I don't know why people are like, oh, I keep hearing this. The fucking Jets overpaid for Devontae Adams. The fucking Bills overpaid for Amari Cooper. I'm like, so you telling me a 3rd round pick is you can guarantee you can give me anybody that's talented as those two? And don't get me wrong, Amari Cooper is going to get a little bit of shitting on later, but still, like, he's still super talented.
Yeah, I think it depends what window you're in, right? With your team. Like, if the Browns kept a hold of Amari Cooper and tried to sign Mike Williams or something like that, I'd be like, right, guys, what the fuck are we doing? Like, let's get younger on this side of the ball. Let's try and find, because this isn't working. Let's try and find someone in college.
I looked through the contract details from Deshaun Watson the other day. They're still fucked if they cut him in 2027. They could eat that. It's like a Russell Wilson type thing.
Yeah.
But they're almost stuck with him till 2028, like through 2027.
Yeah, they need to get younger on that side of the ball. So if you're that kind of team, the Commanders, you've got a rookie quarterback right now. You're in the dream situation where your rookie quarterback is already a top 10 QB in the league. Like, double down, go for it. Debo, you should be on the phone to the 49ers about Debo Samuel if they're giving Debo Samuel up. You should be on the phone to you should be on the phone about Mike Williams. You should be on the phone about
Christian Kirk supposed to be up for sale.
Yeah, Christian Kirk. Like, there's wide receivers in this league that are just ready to.
Could you imagine how good Christian Kirk could be as a real number 2?
Yeah, exactly.
Or just Terry. Like,
yeah, just if he just gets the run out of the slot like the entire time, then you're doing pretty great, you know? Like, so the Commanders should be looking, like, the reason that CJ Stroud had such a good season over such a prolonged, because we've seen rookie QBs have really good stretches of games, but the NFL catches up. The Houston Texans, what happened is 1 week it's Nico Collins, surprise. 1 week it's Tank Dell, surprise. You know, 1 week it's Noah Brown. I remember Noah Brown going for 108 yards in a game.
Dalton Phillips had a couple huge games for them.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas with the Commanders right now, like Luke McCaffrey, he's a great 3rd wide receiver. Or 4th. You've got a guy there. Add a second there right now.
Right, and all it's going to do is make McCaffrey better because he's going to get a chance to learn and like more instead of having to take on a role that he's not ready for yet. Because I watched that kid play; he's going to be something in the NFL. Like, he's going to be at worst a very solid receiver, but I think he's got a really high floor, and the ceiling's like out this world. You just don't know where he's going to land yet.
Yeah, so my next question based on this game, Jay, is this a potential Super Bowl matchup? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I guess so. I don't think the Commanders have enough right now, but yeah. I love where the Commanders are at, and I I don't know if people want to go back. I should go clip this and make it look like I was serious. When we did our picks for the divisions, and you said who's going to win the NFC East, and I said the Commanders, I was just kidding, remember, because I picked the Eagles. But I could clip that and make myself look like a genius in some kind of short right now.
Well, I wanted to go back to the same discussion where I was talking about putting them second over the Eagles, like very seriously. I put them as one of my worst to first candidates, and then I bottled it, obviously, when we actually did the final
Right.
thing.
But I was just joking, but I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
I should go clip that and make myself look like a genius on the internet.
Yeah, but the Ravens have every opportunity here to be Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah.
I think normally
the Commanders will make some noise in the playoffs, I think, too. I don't think anybody wants to see them in the playoffs. I just don't think they're ready for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, normally we're kind of on the side of as well of you can't just load everything with weapons. Like you have to be good on the defensive side of the ball, which they're not. But I don't think you can fix what's wrong with them on the defensive side of the ball in free agency right now. Whereas you could just create some sort of super freaky offense and just go for it. I mean, Max Crosby out of the Raiders would be just a killer signing for them if they could grab a hold of of a Max Crosby.
Because there's a rumor that the Lions are interested in double X Max.
Yeah, if the Commanders could do something there. But the issue is their defense requires so much rebuilding. I don't want to give up loads and loads of draft picks for that.
Nobody's talking about Simmons, but I heard Simmons might be up for Tennessee too. And that dude's a monster. He can play inside and outside. He's a fucking
Jamal Adams
defensive line. Like
Jamal Adams just went up for Tennessee as well. So there's ways that the Commanders can kind of plug some gaps, but the Commanders should be looking more at a long-term build. And I think they'd be better just supersizing the offensive side.
That's a guy but a Max Crosby or a Simmons would be a move for the future because you're not selling out just for this year because you're going to make sure they have long-term deal.
Yeah.
So I don't think, and I don't care what they say. If somebody says you got to give me a 1, a 2, and a 3, and we can split them between 2 drafts, not all in one for Max Crosby, I'm like, here you go. He's only 27.
Yeah, I wonder how much they regret getting rid of Montez Sweat and Chase Young because the picks that they've used, so the second round picks that they got for both of those, they used on the defensive side of the ball, and they're clearly not working. Whereas Montez Sweat was a big game changer for the Bears, but it was the right call at the time.
Yeah, I agree. But are those guys going to be solid in year 3? Like, are they going to be real good? Like, that's what when you're building for the future, you're not necessarily. I don't think. Even me who love Jayden Daniels, I didn't expect to see this yet. Like he came in NFL ready.
Yeah, definitely. And look, the Commanders, I thought a 7-point loss against the Ravens is nothing to be ashamed of. They're probably going to flip in my power rankings this week, the Ravens and the Commanders. The Ravens have just edged ahead of them because the Ravens just dominated that game and they looked really, really good. Jay, going on to our final game that we'll be largely reacting to this for reasons outside of the game itself, but we'll talk about the game itself first. But the Jets versus the Bills, the Jets lost 20-23. What's wrong with the Jets offense, Jay? Like how come they're only scoring 20 points against the Bills?
I don't know why this is one of the better games we saw them play. Mike Williams fucked up twice and some like awful kicking, but like I don't think the Jets offense was the problem this last week. I don't. And it was the defense, the run game or the run defense that I thought was atrocious, which was very odd because that's a very solid, I'm not going to say they're top 5, right? But they're a very solid defense. And I think that'll get turned around too. And we're going to talk about the additions. I think the Jets I am less worried about the Jets after watching that game than I was before that game.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think when I'm talking about the offensive side of the ball, I think I did see a problem in that game, but I don't think it was player specific. I think they've got the players, and I agree with you. I think they looked to click more, but they clicked more and they only scored 20 points. But
they're awful in the red zone. That's their problem. Awful.
Yeah.
If you look at the stats, but Devontae Adams is a monster in the red zone.
Yeah. Breece Hall was averaging 6.3 yards a carry in this game. Why is he only getting 18 carries? Why are we just not saying, let's just ice this? Because 18 carries is still a lot of carries, right? But if your running back is getting 6.3 yards a carry, we know he can bell cow back. And you also have Braden Allen, who looks pretty good as well. In that particular game, when Josh Allen is on the other sideline, I think maybe I want to keep him there. Like, I want to keep him on that sideline for as long as possible. The time of possession was 30 points to 30 minutes to 30 and a half minutes, I think. It could have easily been, because the Bills have been run on all year. Like, the reason that I picked the Jets to win that game is I thought they were just going to get physical. And Rodgers said, it's time that we learn to dominate, was one of the things that he said going into this game. And I think they could have shown that by just keeping the ball, buddy? By just keeping the ball and just not giving it to the Bills that entire game. And that frustrated me watching it.
So when I watched that game, where I saw the problems too is that offensive line. Smith was getting beat like he's never been a Pro Bowler. Like he gave up 7 pressures in that game, which is unheard of for Aaron Smith. Unheard of. So I don't know what that was about. And then Mike Williams doesn't run the wrong fucking route at the end of the game. I mean, they're at least going to overtime, I'm guessing. Like at that, so.
Well, if Zerline doesn't miss again, but
that wind was gangster, and he was on the opposite side of the field. And this is a guy who's made a lot of big kicks. So I'm going to assume. But at least, even if they have a chance for the kick, there's no way you can even blame that on the offense then, right? But Mike Williams runs the wrong route, so that doesn't fucking help at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think we're just saying in a game here where the Jets offense looked like it clicked more. There weren't many miscommunications between Rodgers and Garrett Wilson in this game, which I think was a big deal. I think it was the first time that we saw them properly connect. There was one fade route where I actually thought there was a bit of PI there, and that's why Garrett Wilson couldn't make it back to the ball. The refs are really either overly calling PI, and some crews are really overly calling PI, and some crews are just not calling PI all this season, which I'm okay as long as it's consistent throughout the whole game, you know?
Yeah, except they waited till the end of the game to start calling like penalties. So
and roughing the passer call. There was a few roughing the passer calls in that game that I was like, there's no way.
Even Rodgers is going to get fined because he shit on 2 of them that were on him. Like, he was like, that wasn't roughing.
Crazy. But in a game where we have that, where the Jets are looking better, they only scored 20 points, and 7 of them are off the Hail Mary and the extra point. You know, like, so they had to get a Hail Mary to make it that close.
I got to look, but if I'm not mistaken, the Bills haven't been giving up a ton of points this year anyway, have they?
The Bills have got run over a few times against really physical.
They only
teams.
let the Texans only scored 23 on them.
The Ravens also put like 30 on them.
Yeah, the Ravens and the Jags beat them up really good, but other than that, like, you haven't seen anything. So
they're not horrendous defensively, but where they are bad defensively is against the run game. So if they just ran Breece Hall, they would have won this game the entire way through, which I was surprised about. We've also spoke about the Jets defense maybe being a bit overhyped. People saying that they were going to be top 5 to start the year. I don't think that
they should
there. Be. Yeah, they should be with the talent on the.
They're
they
not,
should be.
But they should be.
Yeah, but definitely.
Devontae changed his life there because he doesn't even have to learn a system. He's plug and play. Let's go.
Yeah. So here we go. Who will have more impact on their team, Davante Adams or Amari Cooper?
Maddie's in this weird world of like he has this hate for the Jets, everything Jets, Aaron Rodgers, and Davante Adams right now. And he thinks that Amari Cooper, who had 67 targets this year, only 20 receptions, and has the most drops in the NFL, is going to be a bigger asset to the Bills, which he does not know the system, than Davante Adams, who's top 5 first ballot Hall of Famer coming into the Jets. So I don't know how to even argue this with Maddie. Anybody in the comments, you can help out if you want, because I think Maddie's lost his mind. I think Maddie literally lost his mind for a minute, so I'm not sure what's going on.
I just do not trust the Jets to get this right. Okay, that's more where I am. I don't think that their problem all season has been a wide receiver. I don't think there's a single issue that they fix by bringing in Devontae Adams here.
He don't drop that. He doesn't run the wrong route at the end of that game.
Right, but he's double covered. He's double covered and not open anyway.
When you
which
give
is
him
where
to Garrett Wilson, then Garrett Wilson's not double covered.
Right, and they've also got Alan Lazard as well, and they've got I still think that ball has to go to Mike Williams in that specific play there when it's there.
Well, Mike Williams isn't on the field though. Then it go like,
yeah.
Are you going to double both?
Maybe there's
because then it's going. Then you got your tight ends wide open down the middle. You got fucking Lazard wide open down the middle. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I just think the actual problem here is the Jets as a franchise, their coaching staff and their game management. Like, I just watched that game and I thought, why is Aaron Rodgers passing this ball 35 times?
Well,
and that's not that many. That's not that many, but he should have only been thrown it 25 times. There was absolutely no need for him to do that.
But I'm hoping by the end of the year, Matty's shirtless with "Fly Eagles Fly" written in green across his chest.
By Sunday, we will have parameters of a bet where Amari Cooper is going to be.
Matty's going to make some weird rules trying to get this one in because like he already was plea bargaining in the fucking group chat.
No, well, what I was saying is you can't justify impactfulness just on stats. So we just need to work out what impactfulness will be.
Yeah, who has the more yards, catches, touchdowns?
No, because I think Amari Cooper actually makes a different
receiver rating.
Okay, I could work on receiver rating. I could work on PFF rating if you want, but you don't like PFF, so.
There's no way he's going to have better PFF than Devontae Adams, and I still think PFF is super subjective. But there's no way he's going to, because he's going to come in, and Devontae's going to catch 65 balls from here on out through the rest of the year, at least. Amari Cooper is going to drop 18 of them.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't think that Devontae Adams necessarily converts the Jets' problems into wins. That's what I'm at. The fact
that they win that last game, I really do, with Devontae Adams. And
well, I don't think that they should have had to win it with Devontae Adams. I think if they were actually game playing that thing properly, Aaron Rodgers should have only thrown the ball 25 times.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have mattered because Devontae would have had fucking 10 for 130 and they would have been up by 14. I don't know. Like, it's just.
Yeah. I think with
did you forget how like dangerous Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams with back shoulders and over the tops, and they can just look at each other and know to switch a play? Like, it's crazy.
I do think the one area that it does improve is actually possibly one of the most important areas, which is the red zone. But if the offensive line is just going to let Aaron Rodgers get sacked constantly, then I don't think it matters.
They had the same problem in Green Bay, and from 17 to 21 when they played together, nobody has more receptions and touchdowns than Devontae Adams.
Yeah, where Aaron Rodgers, if this is impactful, where it will be is in the red zone and in Aaron Rodgers being able to get the ball out of his hands in under 3 seconds, right? That's where it'll be. With Amari Cooper, having seen Amari Cooper go from the Raiders, where he had a terrible quarterback play, to the Cowboys, where Dak Prescott is at least the top 10 quarterback, but at most and at least the top. He's just around there. He's just, that's kind of just where he is. Amari Cooper makes a huge difference to a good quarterback. His route running is outstanding, and when you look at the Bills' wide receiver room, he just elevates that wide receiver room like so much further than where
I don't think he's a number one anymore.
But the Bills are currently playing with number 4s. That's my biggest, that's what I mean. They're playing with 3s and 4s. That's what the Bills are playing with. So I think Amari Cooper coming in actually makes a difference.
Oh, fuck. What's the young kid's name for the Bills?
Coleman.
Yeah, he's been looking good. And then what's the other one? Shakir. He's been looking pretty good too. They weren't looking like they are awful, but
yeah, I just think that's
I'm not saying that they don't need help. They do. That's not what I'm saying.
From Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, and Mike Williams, Devontae Adams is better than at least 2 of those. Garrett Wilson, we'll see. Devontae Adams is better with Aaron Rodgers than Garrett Wilson is with Aaron Rodgers right now, right? with the Bills wide receiver room, the jump that they get from Amari Cooper is just totally different. Is where I'm at with it.
I still think you're nuts. Let's move on because you're trying to compare a guy who'd be lucky to get in the Hall of Really Good to a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think that Devontae Adams is a better wide receiver than Amari Cooper. I just don't think he fixes the actual problems.
Well, there's levels to this, and if he's level 1, I mean Cooper's level 3 or 4, right? So
three at the highest. Yeah, I agree with you.
I agree with Amari either. I like Amari. He's on my fantasy team. The first thing I said to you is this is going to fucking help my fantasy team.
Yeah. The other reason that I'm really pissed off at this is I've had a shit week, and Devontae Adams is possibly going to hurt my fantasy team because of Garrett Wilson. But anyway, that's fine. We move on. I'm interested in that. I'm interested to see what happens here because Garrett Wilson might get a bit of easier coverage. If you've seen who Garrett Wilson's been covered by throughout the first 5 weeks, it's like the best cornerbacks in the league, like all the way through. So maybe if Mike Williams is taking that, then things will get a bit better. But Jay, we're now moving on to segment 2 of our show, where it's one of your favorites, Jay. It's the overreactions. This is week 6 overreactions. And Jay, where are you at with this? What's your number 1?
I'm pulling them up right now. All right.
Oh my gosh.
First overreaction. The Giants should never be on fucking prime time again. Ever. Ever. They should be banned from prime time. That's my first overreaction.
Yeah, the Giants are just a bit of a boring team. Like even when they win boring.
That game is fucking awful.
They just win. They play games of football that just look like they're played badly. Like that's just how they look. It's, I would have to agree with that. Jay, mine is Mike Zimmer should have been fired this week. Mike Zimmer should have been fired at the start of this week. Have the bye week for Al Harris to take over from the Dan Quinn School of Defense. Maybe we'll have something different when we come out of the bye.
Small tidbit. I've been around him 4 or 5 times in my life, Al Harris. He's friends with my buddy Herm, who used to sell cars here in Green Bay. And I watched Monday Night Football once with him at Tremont Williams' house. There's just a little tidbit for you.
Nice. Do you think he would make a good defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys? Because I think he would be great.
He's an amazing person, and he knows defense. So I think the players would love him. I don't know. I mean, he's played so much good football, you would have to think he would be a good defensive coordinator.
Yeah, like the Cowboys, the Cowboys of last year that looked really good on the defensive side of the ball. Everybody gives credits to Micah Parsons and all of that. But actually what made them league beaters was getting those interceptions in the secondary. And that was Al Harris's bread and butter right there. So, yeah. Jay, overreaction number 2.
The Bills are better without Stephon Diggs.
Yep, I like it. Just with Josh Allen, like just not only focusing on one guy, it takes away a nice distraction, and it just means they'll run the fucking ball. Like, side note, the Bills also won that game without James Cook, by the way. I thought they looked very, very impressive in the run game there. Jay, my second overreaction is the Jets are missing the playoffs. The Jets will miss the playoffs.
I don't agree, but I don't have a problem with the overreaction. The AFC is awful except for like 3 teams.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Jay. And number 3 for our overreactions this week.
Well, coming in third again, because it's a Jets one. The Jets have the worst offensive line in the NFL.
I don't agree with that. There's
it's
plenty of
overreaction.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Elijah Vera Tucker carries that Jets O-line just on his own. Like, But yeah, it's difficult not to agree with you on that one. Jay, mine is that Baker Mayfield will be this year's MVP. All hail Baker Mayfield. The scourge of the Cleveland Browns.
I'm not mad at it, but I think you got the wrong ex-Panther quarterback.
Is Sam Darnold is MVP by the end of the year? I don't hate that either.
I'm just being a homer, but yeah.
I don't hate that either.
When the Vikings go 20-0 and have a Super Bowl record win, you can't. Okay, I'm going ridiculous.
I just like Baker Mayfield rubbing the Browns' nose in it, just getting better and better. The Bucs look good this week, and look, Baker Mayfield threw 3 interceptions this week, and still for some reason looked absolutely immense. 4 TDs, 3 interceptions. I'm cool with that. Like the whole time.
I don't want to let him off the hook too much, but 2 of those weren't his fault.
Yeah, right.
You can't get it tipped off a receiver's hands at like right here and be your fault. You just can't. Like,
Yeah, it's why interceptions don't tell the whole story. It's also why sacks don't tell the whole story. You have to look at everything when you're looking at stats, right? Jay, moving on to my favorite segment in football is GMJ, where we take our GM consultant, Jay over here, GM consultant, right there, and we ask him questions that should be asked to all the GMs in the league. But Jay, if you were starting an organization today, totally from scratch, who's your quarterback, Jayden Daniels or Lamar Jackson?
Jayden Daniels, but it's a contract and age thing.
Yeah, right. If you get to work with Jayden Daniels on his rookie
Jayden's
contract,
more accurate. Like, I love Lamar, but Jayden's more accurate too.
Lamar Jackson is a better runner off the designed run, but Jayden Daniels is perhaps a better scrambler. We'll see how fit Jayden Daniels can stay. He took a few big hits in that game. This was the first time in his career where he's taken a few big hits here. But I agree as well. You can make a better team around Jayden Daniels just with the rookie deal and stuff like that as well. And you have time on your side as well. Jay, our second question for you is, which teams should be attempting to trade for which players? Which are like the most attractive trades that are out there before the trade deadline?
The Cowboys should be calling about Ford. They should call Cleveland about Ford.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as well. He was when we were talking about running backs before, he was one that was kind of there as well. Have you got any others that you think would be a good trade destination, good team looking for trades?
They don't have the cap space, or they don't have the ammunition, but I think if you could put, and it's already a stacked safety room, but if you could put Jamal Adams in a Minnesota Vikings safety room with Metellus and Cam Bynum and fucking Harry the Hitman, and the way they play them at both linebacker, I think that'd be sick, because Adams can kill people.
Yeah, I think Jamal Adams as well adds a leadership quality to a safety room. The Vikings aren't lacking leadership, but there are teams out there that could use a wise head who's been in a great defense and stuff like that. So the Commanders for Jamal Adams, I think, would be a good move for them. Teams that are looking for like the Jaguars, I'd be surprised if because their division is still up for grabs. They still got a quarterback who's there. Like Jamal Adams maybe makes life a bit different for the Jags as well. Obviously, the Titans won't trade to the Jags, but
I don't know if they'll do it. But if I was the Commanders, I'd be calling Green Bay about Christian Watson too.
Again, another wide receiver in the room. And Jay, final question for GMJ this week. You're the GM of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who are you calling the head coach to say, this is the quarterback I want this week?
I think they're doing the right thing because Fields missed a lot of open throws, and he's only played one big boy game of football in 4 years. And I think you got to know this year. And yeah, Fields will win you some games, but you ain't winning playoff games with Justin Fields. So if you really want a shot at making a run in the AFC, it's going to have to be Russell Wilson playing like he did when he was younger in Washington. So Seattle, I think they're making the right move. I don't love it because it kind of fucks my fantasy team, even though I have them both. But I'm not going to get the rushing yards from.
Yeah, Fields has been surprisingly undynamic in the run game this year.
But he's still been averaging like 18 to 20 points in fantasy. So.
Yeah, because he's been actually throwing the ball a lot better this year. Justin Fields is actually the best quarterback that the Steelers have had since.
He throws zero anticipation though, so he doesn't throw anybody open, and he misses guys over the top, which is the worst place to throw over. It's an overthrow. It's the worst throw you can have because a lot of times it gets picked.
Yeah, definitely. It's where Geno's been overthrowing a lot Geno Smith's been overthrown a lot this year. I agree with you. If I was the GM of the Steelers, I'd be saying, let's see what we have in Russell Wilson. Give him 2 games. And if we want to go back to Justin Fields, we can go back to Justin Fields. Because I think Justin Fields could actually, it's not the same as when you bench Bryce Young, because Justin Fields was always meant to be the backup to start. And we were always meant to see what we had in Russell Wilson. and then you can there's still also ways to get Justin Fields on the field this game as well, through special design plays for him. So I don't hate it. I don't hate that that's what they're doing. Okay, and just a quick rookie QB watch for our segment 4 of the show as well, Jay. I thought we'd look at the rookies who are making their first start this week here, but did Drake May show enough talent to encourage the Pats fans going forward? Like, what did you make of Drake May's start to his career?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be, and he showed some promise. He had one really good throw in the game, but I think they're going to get him fucking killed.
Yeah, I think in terms of a game-to-game basis, they made a good call in getting Drake May in that game. They had a much better opportunity to win that game. They played much better football, were much more exciting with Drake May than they would have been with Jacoby Brissett. They were much, much better in that facet. And I thought he made a few big-time plays, but I still don't think it's good for his career to just get the shit kicked out of him, which is going to just happen every single week here. They also have a ridiculous schedule going forward, the Pats, where they play who have they got this week? I just had it. Sorry, everyone.
Pats play the Jags.
Yeah, so the Pats play the Jags, and then they've got some big games coming up with some big defensive lines, like coming up pretty soon. I've completely lost my fixture list, which is the most annoying thing that could happen in that particular moment. But anyway, I think it's the right call on a game-to-game basis, and I thought he looked really good. I thought he looked exactly like the kind of player he needs to be. I think people compared him to like Josh Allen-esque, and I don't think we're ever going to get high completion percentages, but I think we will get big-time throws from him.
This is already a fact, and I don't care what anybody says. Best NFL draft for quarterbacks 1, 2, and 3. And before people argue with me, go look at the past drafts where quarterbacks have won 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So Trey Lance, for example, factors in that, and
right.
Has been down.
I mean, there was Zach Wilson,
Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson,
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance in that one, and then
then it goes, and then it's 1971, and there was some like really shitty quarterbacks that came. So like it's not a big jump out there to say it, but it's already true. They're the 3 best ever drafted, 1, 2, and 3.
This could easily work out as one of the best QB draft classes of all time.
Yeah, it could be like that. I think it's 84, 82 when it was Elway, Marino, Jim Kelly. There was a lot of guys. I think you could see that again.
Well, what was the one where it was Manning and Rivers as well? And Ben Roethlisberger came out in the same one. That's crazy. But yeah, and a guy who is part of this draft class as well is Spencer Rattler. And I actually thought Spencer Rattler looked okay as well. Like
they were playing good until they got their ass whooped, if that makes sense. Like it was a close game. They were playing good. And then all of a sudden I turned around and I'm like, oh fuck, they got 50 points. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I was watching it on Red Zone and I thought, oh, the Bucs Saints games look sneakily good. Like I might flick and have a little watch of that, see how Spencer Rattler's doing. And then they came back to the Bucs game later on, and they scored 51 points, 51-27. Spencer Rattler threw 2 interceptions in that game, but I just think his team was totally outmatched. Like what you don't want Spencer Rattler to do. Sorry,
you get to see him again.
Yeah, Derek Carr's out this week as well. What I don't want to see Spencer Rattler doing is having to throw from behind and throw them back into a game when the defense is conceding 51 points.
That's not going to happen tonight.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have that.
This is going to be like a fucking 9-12 game or something stupid. Watch, a
lot of running, a lot of rushing in this game as well. And Jay will finish off our Week 6 reactions with a Week 6 MVP and a Week 6 rookie MVP. Jay, who is your Week 6 MVP?
Go ahead, Maddie. I need a second to think.
All right. Okay, got you. My week 6 MVP is actually Baker Mayfield for that game where his team puts up 51 points in a divisional game. He's the quarterback. I think the Bucs just get such a lack of respect. And I think Baker Mayfield has had a lack of respect since his time at Cleveland ended. So here's the respect. Baker Mayfield, my week 6 MVP. And my rookie MVP, a really unsexy one from me, but it's Zach Frazier, the center for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought he had a great game. He had a great game locking down for the Steelers there, and the Steelers' run game has started to look pretty decent behind him as a center. He's actually who I wanted the Cowboys to draft over Cooper Beebe in the draft this year. So yeah,
I was
Zach
trying
Frazier.
to think of a reason not to do this, but Jared Goff.
Yeah, again, like he's just really good. Like Jared Goff is actually just a really good quarterback, especially for the Lions, where they might have one of the best they probably do have the best offensive line in the league. Like I'm trying to think of a better offensive line than them right now, and their two-headed running game, and the fact that all of his wide receivers get open, he might be the perfect fit there.
And then my rookie MVP, Caleb Williams.
Nice. I did skip his questions in the rookie QB watch because we're running a bit long. But I did want to say to you, do you think he's found his feet? Like now that the Bears aren't making him throw 40 times a game, how good does he look?
I still don't trust the Bears. It's not him. I still don't trust the Bears. But Caleb he's got some tendencies he's got to get rid of from college, but he will.
Yeah, he's got to stop thinking that he's like just the best guy on the field entirely.
Yeah, you're not the best athlete anymore.
Yeah, you can't just like run around and do that. And he is doing that. We're seeing him learn that day in, day out. What I was really impressed with him this week was there were a few plays that just totally broke down. And in the first games of the season, he would try and run around and make something happen there. But in this game against the Jags, he just threw that ball away. He just went, okay, live to fight another day, and we'll go again. And his wide receiver room is a very helpful wide receiver room for a rookie QB. Like it's a good, like everybody's saying it's this elite wide receiver room. It's one of the best in the league. It is very good, but I don't think it's like up there with some of the other wide receiver, like the Vikings wide receiver room, for example. But for a rookie QB to have a fellow rookie, to have and then 2 vets, including one guy who's just always been very QB friendly.
We finally had a Keenan Allen sighting last week.
Well, he wasn't injured, so like, and he looked good being there. Jay, we've already referenced it, but segment 6 of the show, it's Thursday Night Football. How did we get there to Thursday Night Football, a standalone game being the New Orleans Saints versus the Denver Broncos? I will never know, but the Denver Broncos are 3-point favorites. Jay, if Spencer Rattler impresses over the next few weeks, will he be the Saints quarterback in 2026? That's when Derek Carr's contract runs out.
They can get out of that contract after this year, right? So if he plays well, maybe because they're still in cap hell, maybe they get out of that Derek Carr contract, get that rookie contract, get shit back on track for the cap in 2026 so they can actually start making a run again. I mean, we all already know what Derek Carr is. Derek Carr is Derek Carr, and that's what he's going to be. So if you can get that kind of play or better from Spencer Rattler, I think it just isn't. It's good football to move on from Derek Carr because of the cost.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that one. I want to see Spencer Rattler just getting more comfortable. Back there, I thought he did look a bit jittery to start off with, but then I thought he did really settle into the game as well. So looking better doesn't necessarily mean winning this game.
I even messaged you that Rattler looks good, but he's too anxious. He just needs to calm down.
Yeah, it's like it looked like Spencer Rattler has been waiting for this moment since high school. Like that's what it looked like. Because in high school, it was said he was going to be the number 1 overall pick. You know, that's where we were with Spencer Rattler, and he fell down to round 5. So imagine the pressure that was on him during that game. Like, this is his moment that he's been dreaming of since high school, and it looked like that.
Dennis Allen's got to get some credit too because he's been coaching pretty well down there.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Saints with all their injuries have looked pretty good
Oh,
as
their
well.
injury list, go look at it for today. It is long.
Denver's
got 2 guys on the injury list, and then the Saints just.
Yeah. Looking over to Denver now with Bo Nix, and what do you make of Bo Nix's start to the season? Because I can't decide what I think of Bo Nix.
I think they'd have been better with Spencer Rattler, but
you think that Bo Nix you think that Spencer Rattler looked better than Bo Nix this week?
Off of one game, yes, but it's not Bo Nix's fault too. Let me put that out there. Like, Bo Nix is still on a team where who's his best receiver?
Colin Sutton, who should be a number 1 wide receiver, but for some reason just hasn't been.
It was rhetorical, but yeah, you get my point. Like, who's his best receiver? Like, I mean, I know Olave's out with a concussion and different things, but at least you got Kamara and you got different weapons on that fucking team. I just meant when I said that is I think Sean Payton with Spencer Rattler would have been more impressive than what we're seeing out of Bo Nix. But that's not to say Bo Nix won't be a better quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying right now I had more excitement watching Spencer Rattler, but Bo Nix is the type of guy he's just going to do everything right. Now, granted, he's a rookie and he's going to make mistakes, but he's never going to make the same mistake twice because he's smart. He's played a lot of football, and he's going to get them to a very stable place. I just think we're not going to see many points scored from Denver this year, and it's because he doesn't really have any weapons. Like, you got Bo Nix out there playing with average dudes.
Yeah, and I think it's what's really important when evaluating Bo Nix, especially in the last game, is that he did everything for them in that last game. So they're playing against the Chargers defense that is really good, like really well coached, good Chargers defense, right? Bo Nix threw for 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not terrible. That's 18 completions off 33, but he also off 6 carries ran for 61 yards and was their leading rusher in the game as well.
That's a problem.
It's a problem if he's the leading rusher in the game, right? Like, it's a real problem. But it shows that Bo Nix has that quality. It shows that it's not Bo Nix that is the reason that Denver isn't clicking offensively there. I think Bo Nix looks good. I think he looks like a really good football player. And I think if Bo Nix, I said this last week, if he was drafted in the 3rd round, we'd be fine. Like, we'd be fine with what Bo Nix looks like in this. The other point of wanting Spencer Rattler over Bo Nix is that Spencer Rattler went in the 5th round. And Bo Nix went I
just thought he was more exciting to watch. Like,
overall.
I thought just Spencer Rattler in general last week was like really exciting to watch.
Yeah, especially with the Saints offense that they've got going there. They've drawn up like a good offense as well. On the Broncos as well, another thing that's been working against Bo Nix is that they fell behind by double-digit points in all of their 3 home games this season. So that's just always going to work against your rookie quarterback when you're just falling behind by that many points so early on that you can't run the ball at that point. You can't really do anything. It's quite difficult from a rookie quarterback without wide receiver help there. So can the Broncos get off to a fast start? Jay, the Broncos 3-point favorites here. Who you got?
All right. I think I remember, but I got to look just to make sure because I put reasons why. Okay. I hate the injury report, and I hate the fact that Spencer. I mean, if Derek Carr was playing, then it would have been an easier decision. But I'm still going with the Saints.
All right. Okay. I like that. For me, I'm taking the Broncos in this game. I think the Broncos have been really solid defensively. I think the Saints have too many issues. I think the Saints offensive line really surprised everyone at the start of the year. Like, it looks so imperious. And then they lost Cesar Ruiz, the center, and I think they lost their guard as well. And it just since then hasn't looked the same. So give me the Broncos on this one.
All right, Mr. $10 words imperious. Let's go. Fuck. Broncos.
You know, when your country invents the language that you all speak, then like you just get a better hold of it, you know.
Well, yeah, but there's this old saying is you don't need to use a $10 word when a $2 word will work. I don't know.
Yeah. I also like it when we pick different, especially on the Thursday night games, because it means one of us just starts off like ahead of the other, which is always good. Fun. Also, everybody, we had a really good week.
I think last week.
We had a really, really good week again last week. Like the last 2 weeks, we're back. Like, you know, so I went 10-4. Jay went 11-3. I went 2-1 in my best picks. Jay went 3-0. Overall, for the season, on our bets, we would actually bet on. I'm 12-6, and Jay is 10-8. That's where we're at the moment, which is okay. In our record overall over all the games, I'm 47. Real. Cool. Got you. Thank you.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I was just being funny. I was just being funny.
I was 47. I was 47-45. Jay is 42, 40 and 52. But Jay had a few bounces of the ball go against him, to be honest.
No, I just was being funny with that fucking music.
Yeah. I didn't realize. I was looking at the picks and I was just chatting away, and I just didn't realize.
I only muted mine, not yours. I let you get yours out, and then as soon as you said Jay went, I hit mute.
But yeah, we're back on track here. So after going 9-5 the week before, 11-3, and 10-4 this week. Jay, we also have the final game in London this week as well, where the Jags are 5.5-point favorites against the Patriots. Is a win here good enough to save Doug Peterson's job?
Yeah, because it's hard to fire a guy off a win, but they lose this game and they're getting fired. And I believe Doug Peterson's getting fired. Give me the Pats in this game.
The Pats to win. I'll give you the Pats with the points because
I want the points too, but I think I think they're going to lose, but I want the points just in case. Like I can hedge my bet here a little, but because I have no faith in either team. But when your coach, who's been there 4 years now, I don't remember, right, comes out and says we need to build a culture. Like, what the fuck did you do the last 2 years? Like, why are you even there? And now they got to sell suites to their new stadium. Like, you got to be winning. You got to do something to sell these suites. Yeah. So I know Shad Khan's been patient, like in the past. Well, the Urban Meyer worked his way out of there with his antics, but he's been a patient owner. But I think Doug Peterson comes back. And if I'm not mistaken, this will be the 5th head coach fired after a trip to London.
Yeah, and look, Doug Peterson, when you're saying that, the one thing that I actually credit Doug Peterson for is setting up the culture in Jacksonville because of where he took it from Urban Meyer, right? That's the one thing that I've said. Look, Doug Peterson came in and he did a great job changing the culture. I just don't think he's a good enough coach to take them on to that next step. And look, Doug Peterson has a Super Bowl win with the Eagles and stuff like that.
I live in a city that will love Doug Peterson till the end of time because he was Brett Favre's backup.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to go with you on this one. I'm surprised.
It's hard to pick the Patriots, isn't it? It's fucking hard.
It's really hard. It's hard to pick the Patriots, but it's also even harder to pick the Jags on a 5.5-point victory. Like if it was 3, I'd pick the Jags. I think. Like if it was a win,
I might have, but I think there's a chance that Pittsburgh or that New England beats them. So I feel like I get to double my chances of winning this with the points. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I think when a team is down, I don't think the Patriots are down. That's what I think here. I think the Patriots knew they weren't going to be great, and I think they're actually going to be quite buoyed, like quite up for it after their rookie quarterback's performance against the Texans. I think they're going to look like really. I think they're going to be really excited to go over to London. They have a huge fan base in London as well. The Patriots, just with it being called New England and them obviously being the best team, which is quite funny, right? Because you would expect them to have the worst following because they're the Patriots and everything like that. But with them being like the best team over the past 20 years, like they're huge over here. They're massive.
I will say, I don't trust Gerard Mayo, but the Patriots players and fans do.
Yeah, exactly. So And that's all that matters. That's what
It
matters.
is. Who
Really,
gives a fuck what I think? Give the Patriots locker room, right? Like,
with this build at this moment in time, and I also don't think that the Jags are good enough on the defensive line to make Drake May uncomfortable. And Polk, rookie wide receiver Polk, he looked really good. He made a few big plays. So I think the Patriots have enough here, and I think the Jags are just. It might have helped them being in the UK. Like, they're going to be helped by being in the UK as well. Like, I think the Jags, that's why I was going to pick them before, because they've been there the whole week. They've been here the whole week, sorry. So I think there's that to take into account. I think that's a big deal. I also think that might have kept them away from the criticism of the American media. But actually, the London NFL media is probably bigger than Jacksonville's NFL media. So they've actually probably been under more scrutiny here in London than they would have been if they were just sat in Jacksonville. So I actually think this could be really bad for them. They won't have had their families around either. They actually got a visit from the Prince of Wales, the king's son. This week, so maybe that they taught him a bit of football. Louis Rees-Zammit obviously plays for that. Well, he's on the practice squad and stuff now, so maybe that'll help them. But I just think the Jags are in serious turmoil here, and I actually think if some of the players are smart, they'll say we can get rid of Doug Peterson if we lose this week. And I know players shouldn't think like that, but that's got to be in the back of some of their minds, right?
Yeah.
That was a long-winded way of saying I'll take the Patriots
at
the +5.5.
Sometimes you gotta talk yourself through that shit because it just doesn't make sense in my head to take the Patriots, but I am.
I had the Jags in my head. Coming into the show, and then actually, as I sat down and looked at my notes and looked at the questions, I went, "It's the Patriots. It's definitely the Patriots." That just took a lot. Okay, so where we've been doing really well this year, obviously, I'm 12-6 on these bets. Jay is 10-8, and just so everybody knows, any winning records against the market, against Vegas, is good enough for me. You know, that is good. I'm excited about that. We're doing really well in this one. Jay, this is our best bets of the week. This is the bets that we would actually put on if we were betting people. Who have you got? Who's number one this week?
So the point spread fucked me up when I saw this, so it was a no-brainer. Texans +2.5 over the Packers.
Yeah, I loved that one as well. I didn't take it because I think the Texans have been a bit up and down, and the Packers have been a bit up and down as well. So I'm not entirely sure where I'm getting.
I was this close to making Stephon Diggs my MVP of the week.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought the Texans, like, this was their first game where I was like, wow, yeah, they're back, you know. But then it was against the Patriots, so we'll see where they are with that. But I really like that one. I was surprised that they're underdogs in that one, to be honest. Another team that I'm surprised they're underdogs is I've got the Kansas City Chiefs against the 49ers. The Chiefs are +1.5 point dogs against the 49ers. So I'm going to take the points just for the purpose of the spreadsheet, but I'd take them to win if I was actually betting. I'd take the betting line on that one.
I'm not going to lie. It scared me when I looked at it because I could see either team win that game.
I'm just surprised that if the Chiefs are ever underdogs, I'm just going to pick them in games. I think it's strategy. I think the 49ers haven't shown me anything this year to say that they're a top team, really.
If you take the Chiefs every week of the season, it's still not a bad strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, some of their point spreads this year have just been ridiculous with the way that they play football. Vegas still hasn't really caught up with the way that the Chiefs actually play football. They play winning football through their tight end and through defense and through running the ball.
If any of you guys are really into gambling and you like hockey, Vegas odds makers have always admitted they don't understand hockey. That's the fucking get on it.
Yeah, they should. There's just some certain teams that I don't think they've got. And Jay, what's next for you? Who's your second pick of the week? Best
Falcons -3 over the Seahawks. Lock that in. That's actually the one I am the most dead convinced on, which probably means I'll be wrong, but that's the one I'm most dead convinced on.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks started the season really well, but then when you actually look at their schedule, they're not that great. And I think the Falcons have really clicked in the past couple of weeks. So I like that one as well. Jay, mine is the Titans plus 9.5 against the Bills. I think the Bills are going to win this game, but I think that point spread is far too big for what the Bills have been so far this year.
I thought about it, but then I was like, that is a lot of point. Like, let fucking Will Levis throw a garbage time touchdown and fuck that whole spread up is what I was thinking. So
yeah, I don't like trusting Will Levis with my money.
Right.
That's not the quarterback I would want to put in charge of my finances. Let's just put it that way, But Josh Allen is also not the kind of quarterback that I trust with my money either. And I just think looking at that, I think the way that the Bills have been playing football this year, they've been going a lot more through the run. They've been going a lot more through the defensive side of the ball. Doesn't look that great. They've played a lot of close games. 9.5 is a lot of fucking points, right?
Yeah, it would be the most Bills things to do is to lose this game, the Jets win, and then it's jam-packed at the top of that division again.
Yeah, definitely. What I am worried about is the Titans seem to, after the Titans looking like they just decided they were going to go for it this year for some strange fucking reason, but they were just signing players like they're going to go for it. They're having a weird fire sale right now, which is a bit of a lot of rumors coming out about Titans players leaving Tennessee. Let's just put it that way.
And speaking about coaches going for it, just quick, I forgot to say this. That's going to kill the Lions in the long run this year. Dan Campbell going for it on like every fourth down. Like when Brian Daboll did it, it made sense. Like this is the only way you're going to score, and this game is close.
Yeah.
And so let's go for it on every fourth and short. It's going to end up beating a good teams and like the risk reward if you're a good team. If you get it, great. If you don't, that hurts so much more than if you get it. Because you're not even guaranteed points if you get it, right? So it's going to end up hurting a good, and maybe not just the Lions, but when a good team goes for it too much on fourth, it's going to end up hurting you.
Yeah, definitely. And Jay, what is your final best pick of the week?
I am the only guy who likes how this dude who reacted this weekend. I think it fires his team up. I think give me the Eagles -3 over the Giants, and everybody can quit hating on Sirianni because he was not arguing with the crowd. He was having a back and forth with one fan over running the football, and everybody blew it so far out of proportion. And then they got mad that he brought his kids up on stage or to the presser with him. And I was like, I'm not even mad at him. Now you got to be nice to me. We won. You can't Philly might be the only fucking place in the world where you win a game and your media still and your fans still come at you. Like it is wild to me what Philly does.
They look bad, Jay.
They won. It's the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I agree with you.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to fire and make Kellen Moore the head coach? Get the fuck out of here.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm talking to their fans. Like, what the fuck do you want them to do mid-season? You want Howie Roseman to come down and coach the fucking team? Like, I don't know what they want. He won.
What I do really dislike is people like me. I'm allowed to criticize Nick Sirianni as much as I want because I want the Eagles to do badly, right? I'm allowed to do that.
That's fair.
Right? But Eagles fans, you're not allowed to go in when the guy's winning because
Hitman's as bad as you.
A perpetual cycle, right? It then just becomes a perpetual cycle where the stadium just feels really negative and the whole thing feels really negative. I see it with Sunderland all the time.
I'm in a group chat with these motherfuckers, and not only am I arguing with Maddie over Sirianni, I'm arguing with a fucking Eagles fan over Sirianni. He's fucking winning. Like, sure, your team could be playing better, but I don't understand how everything's Sirianni's fault when a lot of that, if you watch it, it's the Jimmies and the Joes, not the X's and the O's, because really good teams figure out a way to win even when their coach is having a bad day. And it happens. Coaches do dumb shit and good teams overcome it.
What I never understand about certain fans and stuff like that is going to the stadium and complaining while you're there.
My question for you too is, so now it's coming out that Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore don't get along. Is this a Jalen Hurts thing then? Because he doesn't get along with Sirianni, according to the media. He doesn't get along with Kellen Moore, according to the media. Like, is this
I don't know what about. Like, I want to know. I want to know what for as well. Like, are they just asking him to like actually play decent football? Like, is that what's going on here? Because like he's been poor. Like, are they just calling him out on his shit and he hasn't been used to it? Like, is that what's going on here? So, yeah. I do you know what, Jay? I'm not taking that bet. I'm not touching the Eagles with a 10-foot
That's a
bar.
lot to me because to me, Giants are one of the worst 3 teams in the NFL.
Oh, no, I get you, but do you know who is also one of the worst teams in the NFL? The Browns. And they only beat them by 4. But this is only by 3, so you know that's. But
the Giants are worse than the Browns.
I'd say the Giants are better than the Browns, but I think the Giants are a bit better than the Browns.
I would take Deshaun Watson right now over Danny Dimes right now.
Yeah. I just think I said no.
But now the Browns. Now wait, let me take that back. Last week, because now the Browns no longer have Amari Cooper, and
they're trading Jerry Jeudy as well.
Yeah, that's so. Let me reverse that. Last week, I would have taken Deshaun Watson and the Browns over the Giants in a game. But
I've just got with the Giants. I've got like Malik Neighbors as well, and Dexter Lawrence is actually having a pretty good year and stuff like that.
Sexy Dexy, as he calls himself, is a beast, bro.
That's if it wasn't for the Giants, I would fucking give up like 2 first-round picks for the Cowboys to have Dexter Lawrence. Like, I would be so happy if, like, I know that's a ridiculous price to play for a defensive tackle, but I'm so sick of not having a defensive tackle.
I didn't think they'd do it because they only have fucking 4 draft picks as of right now. But there was a big rumor that the Vikings were going to give up a first for Dexter Lawrence.
I'd give up
the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I'd love to have Dexter Lawrence, but also I'm like, with the way the Vikings are constructed, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. You don't need to. You don't need to. Like, we desperately need.
I am in this, like, I don't think I'm caught between we're building for the future and let's go win this motherfucking thing right now. I am literally caught. So if the Vikings win on Sunday, I might just be like, let's sell, because you still have 2 weeks. Like, trade all 4 of those motherfucking draft picks. And I don't even care if I'm at the draft and the Vikings don't have a single pick. Let's go for this motherfucker, right? Like, we beat the Lions. I might be in that mindset of like, we did boys, this our year. Like, that might be me.
Let's just throw everything at it. Jay, my third pick of this, my third best pick for me, as my throat is disintegrating as well, is the Chargers, a -2.5-point favorites against the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals and the Chargers, I think they're a pretty even team. I just think the style of football that the Chargers will be playing will just dominate the Cardinals. I think just the style of defense that they run, like, the Cardinals are going to get absolutely dominated, I think, here.
You know how every year there's that one team that you keep, like, you just feel like it's coming and it never does and they make you look stupid? That's the Cardinals for me this year. I have so much like, okay, they're coming. They're coming.
Yeah.
This is the game. This is the game. And then they let me down. So I'm not mad at that pick, but like I have this weird affinity, like thinking that the Cardinals could be so much better than they are right now.
Yeah, I wonder if we could go back and... But right, okay, for Sunday's show, I'm going to go look back at the spreadsheet on picks and see how many times we've picked the Cardinals and what our record is. Because I have a feeling it's really bad.
They fucked me last week.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the Cardinals is really bad. But actually, you've picked them once as your best bets, and they were right against the Bills. There you go.
I'm telling you, I have this weird thing. Like, I think the Cardinals should just break out at some point. And I think the problem is, and I said this, and this isn't a shot at their receivers because they're good, but they lack that over the top, take the top off. And I think that's where Hollywood Brown ends up hurting them. Like,
I also think in Arizona, I don't know what it is about the Cardinals, but in the same way that the Cowboys aren't soft, but for an NFL team, I can see why someone's called them that. I think the Cardinals do play like just quite a soft style of ball. So when they come up against, and the Chargers forever have done the same, but this Chargers team is solid.
I think a better word we could use is finesse, right? Like, because I don't think NFL players are soft in general. No, like, it's one of the toughest sports, right? Like, that's like calling a rugby player who wears no pads and just runs face first into somebody fucking like, You got to be a little bit touched in the head to play either sport.
I think when they come up against power teams, there's a poor mismatch there. So the Chargers are one of those power teams. So I didn't see it for the Cardinals this week, unfortunately, because I love the Cardinals, and when they play well, they look amazing, which is also part of the finesse teams. But Jay, we've done it. Another Thursday night show, week 7, about an hour till kickoff. Send us out in the way that you always do.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe. And hey, Saturday morning, the premiere of College Football Junkies with Mark Connor and fucking Montana Heffron. So make sure you tap into that. That's College Football Junkies. That'll air 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I had to do some math there quick, so sorry. All right, guys, one world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.